The mad hunt for Bolle Jos. Who is Bolle Jos? At this moment, he is public enemy #1 of the Dutch investigation services in the underworld. He is seen as one of the top dogs. He is now extremely rich, and through his extensive network all over the world, he manages to smuggle thousands of kilos into his business. This could be a costly mistake because he is described as extremely dangerous. The search is becoming more intensive, and the pressure on the largest fugitive criminal in the Netherlands is increasing. This is it from Jos Leedekers, also known as Bolle Jos. Jos Leedekers, also known as Bolle Jos, is currently the most wanted criminal in the Netherlands. Jos got himself into trouble from an early age. As a child, he had to change schools regularly and got into trouble with the police a little too often. His father was in the smuggling trade and reportedly had good skills and contacts in the ports of Antwerp and Rotterdam, connections that Jos would later develop. On August 9, 2008, Jos, who was then 17, and a group of friends got into an argument with someone. The group gave the man a beating, and most of them were arrested afterwards. Jos was eventually sentenced to 27 days of youth detention in a conditional community service of 40 hours. The judges and a psychologist described Jos as someone who talks a lot and in a demanding manner and has the urge to always be right. His self-reflection was considered very limited. In February 2011, Jos suddenly got into a fight about a bar stool. Jos pulled out a converted semi-automatic alarm pistol and hit the other man twice. The brother of the man he had just hit came to help. Jos also shot him. Fortunately, the brother was only grazed by a bullet. After he had fled, Jos was found in a garden and arrested. He was sentenced to 6 years. During his stay in prison, Jos was not exactly trying to get his life back on track. On the contrary, in prison, Jos got a number of very valuable contacts in the underworld, one of whom he met in 2014. Piet Wortel was a man involved in several major smuggling cases and money laundering practices. Fast forward to 2023, and Jos is now seen as an important player in the international cocaine trade. Ridouan Taghi, Roger P., also known as Piet Costa, and Ed and G were all household names in the underworld that I will cover in the separate videos on this channel. Thanks to his father, Jos also has good connections in all major ports and reportedly has many corrupt customs officers on his payroll. Thousands of kilos have been smuggled into Europe by Jos and his group through his routes in Central and South America, and it seems that he has no intention of slowing down for the time being. Sky ECC reports have exposed the scale on which Jos smuggles, but that was not all. Jos is also accused of serious violence linked to the well-known and intriguing disappearance of a woman named Naima Galal. In addition, he is accused of money laundering and leading a criminal organization. At the end of January 2023, the police conducted several raids on homes and offices in the Netherlands that belonged to the family of Jos. The police suspected them of accepting large amounts of cash, expensive gifts such as jewelry and watches, designer handbags, and more, knowing that these had been paid for with drug money. During the raids, the police confiscated all these luxury items in cash. However, they also took telephones, USB sticks, computers, and cameras in the hope of finding information that led to Jos. His mother and sister were then arrested on the suspicion of money laundering. They were released shortly afterwards but will be prosecuted later. One thing became clear. The hunt for Bolle Jos was in full swing, and even his family members were no longer safe. To increase the pressure even further, it was announced during an episode of Opsporing Verzocht on March 14, 2023, that the tip that would lead to Jos's arrest would be rewarded with a record amount of $200,000. The previous amount that would lead to his arrest was $5,000. For comparison, the tip that would lead to the arrest of Taghi and Razi was $100,000. They were the most wanted Dutch criminals at that time. Jos was now not only on the national list of most wanted criminals, but also on the Interpol list. His family was being monitored, and there was now a bounty of $200,000 hanging over his head. A week later, the police announced that they had received 30 tips, but they did not say how useful these were. The reason for this is that they did not want to provide insight into their ongoing investigation. Less than 10 days later, Bolle Jos's father, Jos Leedekers Sr., was arrested in Rotterdam during a planned traffic stop in which the police specifically targeted people they assumed were involved in crime. The police found a jammer in his car that blocks telephone and GPS signals. He was arrested and then released. He will also be charged with money laundering, just like Jos's mother and sister. The police confiscated 2 expensive watches with a total value of $80,000. These would have been paid for with drug money that his son earned. Lawyer Guy Wesky, son of Ines Wesky, who represents Jos Ladekers Jr. and the rest of the family, said that the family is being used as bait and is being put under pressure in the hope that Jos will be caught. What do you think is currently the case, and do you agree with the lawyer? Let me know in the comments. I am curious about your opinion. Please note, because only 4 days later, on March 27th, a major criminal case against Jos started in Liège, Belgium, involving 45 other co-suspects. The case, called Pharma, took years of investigation. Jos was considered the boss of an international crime organization responsible for at least 1 shipment of 775 kilos in the port of Rotterdam and a shipment of 793 kilos in the port of Antwerp. During organized raids in Wallonia, police found a professionally built space specifically designed for processing and packaging cocaine, as well as a warehouse where cocaine was hidden. Belgian prosecutors estimate that the group is responsible for the smuggling of at least 15,000 kilos, but so far they have no evidence to prove this. As you may have guessed, Jos was not present at this trial and will be sentenced in absentia. After his departure from the Netherlands, Jos hid in Spain, then in Dubai, and now he is probably in Turkey, where he is heavily protected. His mother and sister were seen when they went to Turkey in August and December 2022 to allegedly meet Jos on a luxury yacht. What is very intriguing is that, according to reliable sources, Jos has already been arrested twice in Turkey. But after paying a considerable sum of money, you can imagine how that must have gone. I am really interested in how much he paid for his freedom. I think at least several million. This all makes you think, is Jos untouchable in Turkey? Well, no. Despite the fact that it happened twice, the police in Turkey carried out a large-scale operation at the beginning of June 2023. A total of 23 suspects were arrested throughout Turkey. They are all suspected of money laundering and drug trafficking. They all have ties to Jos, and one of them is his brother-in-law. 10 million in assets were seized, and another 1 million in watches, jewelry, and a gold weapon. This operation was another heavy blow to Jos's organization, but despite all this, there was no sign of Jos. As if it couldn't get any worse, Jos's alleged right-hand man, Isaac, was arrested in Turkey on June 25, 2023. 29-year-old Isaac was also on the run and was sentenced in absentia to 12 years in prison. He was considered the boss of a criminal organization that smuggled more than 5,700 kilos and $6.5 million worth of cocaine. In February 2023, Isaac B. was also prosecuted in Belgium because he was the leader of a criminal organization and had shot up a rival's restaurant. Isaac is seen as Jos's right-hand man, which would be a huge blow to Jos and what is left of his organization. Since Isaac has also been arrested in Turkey, just like the rest of the group, you could assume that Jos must be there somewhere and that the police are really on his trail. If he is ever caught, he will probably get a life sentence, experts say. That is why he is doing his best to stay out of the hands of the police at all costs. Despite the heavy increase in drug use, he is succeeding in this. For the time being, he remains the most wanted criminal in the Netherlands. How long will he be free? We will see. If you enjoyed the video, then leave a like, subscribe, and click on the icon to stay informed of the latest videos. Until the next one, thanks for watching.